Okay, I don't know if anyone's here, but I thought I'd go live anyway. Normally, Sunday night is sort of like a little sacred time. I've been doing this a very long time, where, well, 8 years. And we do these little live mini readings, tarot readings, if anybody's interested. I like to do it by donation, and you can do that over here. Again, if anyone's here watching, you can go to TarotLumination.com on a separate tab, browser, device, phone, tablet, whichever. And there is a little button. It's very easy. It's just like online shopping. Also, for future reference, in case anybody needs it, we can do very deep dives with the personal astrology and tarot readings rather than like, tonight, which is like a little public fun place. So, yeah, things have changed with TarotLumination over the years quite a lot. Some of you know I'm over on Rumble almost 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week, where I do my global astrology rants. Mr. Ross, good evening. Hi. I do my global astrology, which has become my primary interest. And it's sad in some ways because I know people like to have personal astrology, personal tarot. They want they need to know what they need to know right now for, Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorns, you personally, your actual birth date and everything. And of course I used to do that years ago until my true nature was exposed and I started talking about things. Hello, Fluff's mom. Meow. I started talking about things that got me in a lot of trouble very quickly, and I've never recovered. But I do have a little alternative world on Rumble, TarotLumination on the Rumble platform. For whatever reason, YouTube, they blocked me from being able to post Rumble links here to go to Rumble. So anyway, I just thought I'd remind people, because I'm there a lot more than I am here today. What's that? Oh, can I get on the reading list? Yeah, sure. No problem. That's why I'm here, okay, of Sunday night. I'm trying to honor and respect the history that we have with this little channel over the years and our little sort of unique, private little boutique little family thing that we have going on. It's very different now to what it was. I'm thinking back to some times where I was at like peak happiness on the channel, where I was earning my living, paying my bills, traveling, doing shows, reports, videos, 5-6 nights a week, and then the Sunday night lives, and mixed it all up. I would get lots, and everything was okay. And this was even after the channel got destroyed. I managed to get just enough momentum to keep it going, and then it didn't. So I tried to get back, and with the, sorry, I'm talking about retrograde stuff right now, which is kind of silly. Mercury's going to go retrograde soon, back through Sagittarius over into Scorpio. But anyway, so I tried multiple times to negotiate, present my case with YouTube, but I got such bizarre responses that it didn't make any sense. It's obvious that there's no going back. Hello, Necessary. Yeah, little Bubba is snoozing away nicely. He was very active last night. I was probably up and down every 2 or 3 hours. It's sort of like how things are right now over here. And he snoozes a lot during the day. He's much better now. I've just been giving him lots of TLC cuddles, and I like to massage him along the jawline here, and that's really helped a lot. And you can even do remote healing. That's been helping as well. He also had colloidal silver drops, and that helped. All of it adds up. So given that he's probably over 19 years old by now, he's doing well in his own way. Let me go to the chart for a minute. Yeah, so you guys, you know the routine. If you need a little reading, just do the donation thing. I'll show everybody, just in case there's some newbies here, just for fun. So you go to TarotLumination.com. You can scroll down. It's easy on a phone, a tablet, another tab. It's just like online shopping, and you can, dump some money in there. Okay, all the elements. Hello, all the elements. That's earth, air, fire, and water, I guess. That's my guess. Greetings. Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about yourself, all the elements. I love hanging about with newbies. Hello, Diana. Yeah. Fluffles, here's my question. Hold on. You're still dealing with Tommy. Oh, boy. I want to get some insight into who this man is. Is he good and pure, or is he deceitful and dark? Who is this guy really? Okay. Well, we certainly had a lot of exposure last week, or was it the week before? Excuse me. Definitely. Fascinating stuff. It's amazing when you start digging around and doing all this weird, spooky tarot reading stuff, sort of mind reading. I was playing a game with Love Triber the other day. Oh, what's that? Mia's feeling a Taurus full moon. She's a Taurus. She has the zoomies at 2 or 4 a.m. and crashes out for about 8 hours. Yeah. Hello, Maria. Wow. Well, we got the gang here. Oh, you're from the UK. Oh my gosh, all the elements. Excuse me. From the UK. I used to live in England. So I'm just chatting right now, hanging out with all the elements. I'm very frightened right now because I still have family in England. My sister lives down near Falmouth. She has family there. And her daughter has a sailing, antique sailing company. Her son lives in London, I think. I used to live in England. While I was there, I used to live in London, Bath, Bristol, Norwich, Winchester, and Oxford. Those are the places where I lived. I'd say probably mostly Bath, but I don't know. Anyway, so I have a very deep connection with England. I have very old friends there, but I hardly keep in touch anymore because feels so far away and so long ago. But if you have ever watched me, yes, Falmouth is absolutely beautiful. It's like the most perfect little quaint British seaside oldie worldy town. Fish and chips, pubs, art galleries, boutiques, all of it. Just beautiful. Well, which do I prefer? I'd probably have to say Bath because in its glory days it was very pretty, very beautiful, and it was restored. And it became very, very habitable, very sociable. I was a young lad. I was kind of like a big fish in a small sea when it came to pop music. And at the time there was a lot of pop music activity going on. Peter Gabriel, the Stranglers, the Corgis, Pete, what's his name? Pete from Naked Eyes. Tears for Fears. I knew all those people. I mean, not intimately, but they were all around because we all lived within a few miles of each other, 5 or 10 miles of each other. And I was in a little band too, and we had our little glory days. I loved it. I really, really loved it. Bath is beautiful. You really need to visit Bath. It's truly historic. I used to, I forgot, excuse me, another little place called Durham, Dyrham. It's a tiny little village near Bath. That's probably very high on the list of favorites. I'm not a city person. I live in a city right now. I don't know how and why I end up in cities, because really I just need to be far away with a beach, New Zealand, mountains, rivers, lakes, streams, animals. That's where I'm happiest. But I did live an urban life mostly. Bath is a place where you can walk. You could probably rent a little Airbnb or something like that and have a really good walk. You could go to the Roman baths and so on. Yeah. You're near Southampton. Oh, okay. I remember going to a concert there. You might remember a band. This is gonna really date things a little bit. I remember seeing a progressive rock band called Yes over in Southampton, and I sometimes used to go sailing in Southampton. Oddly enough, yeah, but not much. When I lived up in Norfolk, up in Norwich, I used to take my motorcycle and go to the beaches over at East Anglia, right on the east. Southampton Docks. That's where I landed when I first arrived in England many decades ago. In the big ocean liner, it landed in Southampton. And I was a little kid. I was a happy kid. I got an English racing bicycle. My dad loved me, my brother and sister, and so on. Anyway, let's see what's going on. Well, no, you probably wouldn't have heard of the band. I mean, it's like, this is going back a long, long way. So, all those bands that I listed earlier, they're like in the 80s, All right, so let's have a look. So Fluffles is wanting a reading. You know what? Let me go to the charts for fun. I gotta get my post-it notes. Where are my post-it notes? Let's get that marked out first of all. Fluffles. I haven't been back in years. The last time I was back was for my mom's funeral, sadly. Questions. Questions about Tommy. All right, Fluffles, we got you. I know you don't like to be first, so I'm going to hold on to see if we got any more bookings for readings this evening. So you can just have a snoop over the chart here for a moment while I check a couple of things, technical things in the background to make sure I can keep the show going. We'll see. Okay, I got that. Okay, I'm just clicking around. Come on, little computer. This poor little computer is really... It's fighting for its life right now. Okay, come on. It's struggling. Poor thing. Alright, never mind. Just trying to keep it going. Hey, Necessary. I noticed that you sent a note a while back. So I went over to check on Robin's Realms. Robin's Realms used to visit here a lot, but she does her own show now on Sunday nights the same time. So I don't ever really see Robin anymore, but Robin does, she does more like what I used to do years ago, like more personal tarot readings for, all the signs. What's the latest for Aries? What's the latest for Virgo? What's the latest for Capricorn? And so on. So, let's have a look. Oh, well, okay. Well, you know what? While you're here, all the elements, can I entice you into a reading, a mini reading? That might be fun. It's a little button over here. Let me just show you everybody again. Click, it looks like that. Okay, so there we go. All right, now I want to go back to the chart for fun. So this is what we've got for today. And this is what I do this every day because I use these charts on my Rumble channel. And it's just habit now. So I'm doing one for tonight because often I end up having to reference the astrology of the moment when we're doing our tarot readings. Some of you know that I used to do tarot and astrology simultaneously on the old YouTube. Lots when I was doing hundreds of readings at a time. Anyway, what you can I don't know if you can see it from here. We have this beautiful sacred envelope. Let me just make it a little bit more juicy. Sorry, I've lost it here. And this is pretty accurate. Let's just do it like that. So over on my other platform, when I look at this, I see something very beautiful and powerful. All this green stuff here. This is a trine. This is a grand trine. This is very harmonious. Don't worry about the signs too much. It's actually Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And then we have another trine here. And then we have sextile, 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 sextile. So it's a very fortuitous alignment of planets in a way that provides a lot of astrological energy, let's just call it that, for our species to evolve and make itself good and make itself healed again. And in order to heal, you've got to reveal things to heal things, okay? You can't, it's impossible to fix anything unless you know what the problem is. And the beauty about this chart right now is if you look at everything at this focus point right here, in my astrology, this is where all the action is right now. We have action here. These are all hypercritical points in astrology because they're very extreme. This is very monumental astrology at any time, but this is very extreme. And what this is telling me is that we're getting a massive display and exposure of all the various forms of evil across the world. Whether it's from radical religions that just want to kill people, whether it's from politicians, corporations, bankers. I'm talking about the global stuff. And how we need to understand how it works. You have to understand the mechanisms of evil so that you can, let's say, undo them. Otherwise, it just continues to live like a massive parasite, which is what we've got. Our whole planet, sadly, really tragically, our whole planet is infected by, I think of it as spiritual parasites or evil or whatever you want to call them. Very, very ugly people typically at the very, very tops of the pyramids of power, money, and control. And we need to heal all that. Where we're seeing some of the most contention is in the global financial system, because everything that's going wrong on planet Earth right now with our species is most vividly felt in our money, our pockets, our wallets, at the personal level for some people, at the astrological global level for others. Now, some people are doing extremely well in this environment. This is an opposition. In my interpretation, it's very much about money. It could be, it just depends where it lands in your chart. Remember, these are aspects, transits, and they could land anywhere in your chart. This is how it lands on the world. but it could land like this for you or for you, and depending where these triggers points land, that's where you will feel it most in your life. So anyway, on the global scale, it's all about the big money. So some people are doing extremely well, tragically at the expense of people who are not doing very well. It is literally a wealth transfer. Money coming out of the pockets of billions going into the pockets of probably a few thousand. It's very extreme, very unbalanced. And you've probably seen a lot of stuff in the social media about extreme hyper-violence popping up all over the world. Again, that's to be expected here. Mars is in Scorpio heading towards the crisis degree, so we can expect this inflammation to explode around the planet like shingles, like a really bad case of shingles. Anyway, I'm not really supposed to talk about that stuff here tonight because that's where I get in trouble. Also, my throat and my voice seems already to be failing, so we may not be here very long. All right. Okay. All right. So, Fluffles, it looks like you're the only one getting a reading. Okay. So it's probably going to be a very lonely, short, sweet show tonight. And that'll be the end of it. Let's have a look. I'm just going to check something before we go to the readings. Uh-oh, what have I done? Oh, what have I done? I'm off. I've had such a problem clicking all the wrong buttons these days. So many freaking buttons. You know what I might do? I might offer some little mini freebies if anyone's interested. I'll pull out a couple of, I don't know, like sacred oracles if anyone's interested. Let me put this aside first. And I've got to shuffle up, all right? So give me a moment here. Okay. Macy, good evening. Join the club. Put that over here. Okay, you can see and hear me perfectly. Okay, that's good. All right. Thank you, Gregory. Let me go here for a moment. Alrighty. So brace yourselves. So somebody wants you to go first, Gregory. Oh boy. It's funny how Gregory has a Mia as well. I've seen pictures. Oh my gosh. I wonder if I'll ever do it. Love Triber. I have a friend, Love Triber. We were hanging out today. And she was working with a client of hers who's been enjoying, what's it called? AI. I think it's AI Gemini, doing artificial intelligence pictures. And so I was busy doing some chores, and I bumped into these people. And they were joking, and they said, well, have a look. So I went and had a look. It was absolutely hilarious. And so they decided, well, let's do one for you. I'm not going to show it here. I don't know how I would show it at this point. But anyway, all they did was taking a picture of me, just basically like this. I was just standing there. There we go, just a snapshot on a smartphone. And about 4 or 5 minutes later, after a bunch of jiggling around on the smartphone with the app, out came a picture. And the picture was given a little script. In other words, this is what the picture is going to look like. TarotLumination is a wizard with a deck of cards standing in front of his castle with a moat that goes around the castle. And that's exactly what happened. I don't know if I'll ever show it, but it was absolutely freakish. The posture of my body had changed. You could see it was me, but I was standing there with this deep, deep indigo blue wizard gown with lots of sacred astrology symbols all over it, a magic deck of cards, and I had one hand up in the air making 4 of the cards float in the air. And then in the background you could see my beautiful castle with the moat all around it. Just another day in the life of TarotLumination. Yep. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. I was very impressed. Here's the thing. It's also very disturbing because it's so easy to see how these types of software can be manipulated and abused for very, very evil purposes, which I will not discuss here. But yeah, people do crazy things. I don't think it's possible to stop that stuff. It's the same thing when they developed nuclear power. Oh, this is amazing. We can generate all this electricity. And then someone kind of went, we could also turn it into a bomb. Oh, sure. All right. Oh, look at all these. Oh, look at all this global telecommunication stuff. We've got Google, Meta. Oh, what are the other ones? Anyway, all the big social medias, X, Twitter, Telegram, Signal, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, streaming, Netflix. It's all out there. And of course, our phones. And I don't know about you, but I remember in the early days of phones, I had a beautiful little phone. It was my little 2G phone. It was a little gold Nokia. It was just a telephone. It had a bunch of little buttons and numbers, and that was it. It had my little telephone book inside, and that was it. And it was 2G. And you could be out in the middle of anywhere, and you'd get a signal. But now it's 5G, and they want to put in 6G. And the higher the G's you go, the more and more towers you have to have because it's a very It's a more powerful signal, but it goes for a much shorter distance. It's a much higher frequency signal, which allows massive amounts of data and communication to move through the air from your phone to another tower, and so on. And of course, it's fantastic. Same thing with my computer. Everything here. I use about 5 different softwares to do this show. I have several more, quite a few more installed, and at least 3 or 4 of them are connected to the global grid. And what they do, their business model is to harvest my information. Microsoft, Google, Firefox, Chrome, Zoom, pretty much anything, everything you can imagine. And I have chosen to be dumb and innocent and just assume that the reason I'm not in any kind of, I haven't been pulled in by the FBI or anything, is because I'm not a scary enough person. But they can track you 24/7. I just learned something very disturbing today about Google. There's nothing you can do about this that I can tell, but Google went through all sorts of legal things where they have to, by law, they were forced to add certain privacy options, opt-in, opt-out. And for a lot of people, they would like to have an opt-in option and the default setting to be opt-out. In other words, your default setting would be privacy, sovereignty, protect your data, and so on and so on, stop the tracking and so on. And then if you want to share, click yes. And then you can get all your Google Maps and massive amounts of social media interaction. But in so doing, you also get tracked for anything and everything you do. Every keystroke, your voice, everything is tracked. What you're doing on your computer, it's all tracked. Everything I'm doing here is tracked. And so I'm one of the billions of people on earth who've decided, well, I'm just going to live with that so that I can enjoy all this free stuff. And that's how I get into trouble. It's because I share my feelings, which I consider honest and true and genuine and legitimate. But some people don't like who I am, what I say, what I think, or what I do. So they shut me down. They literally destroyed my living. Google, YouTube destroyed my living because somebody said I was evil. So I'll never forgive them for that, but I'm still using all their tools. I was proven guilty. In other words, guilty until proven innocent. I will never forgive them. That's not the American way. So what I learned today is that even though Google got sued for billions regarding certain privacy issues, they're right back at it again. They just said, yes, of course. We're going to change all our protocols, all the switches. But guess what happened? They didn't. They give you switches that look like you're getting your options for this, option for that, privacy for that, check this box or uncheck, check, uncheck, check, uncheck. It doesn't do anything. It makes you feel like you're doing something, but the default setting is just purely, there's only one setting. It's what Google wants. And what Google wants is your soul, your data, your life force, your energy sucked up through your tablet, phone, computer, so on. They're not going to stop. Yeah. These things make me very angry. Where's the British girl? Is she still here? All the elements? I just wanted to say to all the elements, if you're still here, I hope you're okay with what's happening in England right now. I see it, all the horrific things going on with a certain religious not a religious group, it's a death cult. There's a death cult that is swarming all over England and doing very, very bad things to little girls and women. And I think it's very, very bad that the British politicians... Sorry, I need to shut up. I'm not going to talk about that. Sorry. All right. What's that, Fluffles? Our privacy should be given and must give expressive consent to share your information. Not a default share. It should be... Exactly. I mean, that's what it should be, but it isn't. And the reality is that if most people would choose privacy... Anyway, let me go over here. There is something called a Patriot phone. And it's pretty limited from what I can tell. They offer a lot of services, but the default setting is privacy. You can make phone calls, you can have your phone list, you can do emails and text, and I believe you can access certain apps and social media functions where you do get actual privacy. But the big ones, I have a feeling the really big ones are blocked out. They can't even get into your phone. I thought about getting one, but they're too expensive for me. Don't ask me necessary to show the pic. You might. We'll talk about that in private later, okay? Well, Mr. Ross, you've had a very lively time recently. Let's see what's going on. Cards are well shuffled. Let's dive into it. All right. So if I don't see anything from you on the screen, Mr. Ross, I will go blind. I know you've got some issues going on with clients, property, relationships, the city, professional issues, family issues, all sorts of stuff. Everything you can imagine. Check all the boxes. Let me just... All right, so again, for any newbies here, all the elements, this is my little tarot deck, and this is my own custom spread. I call it my situational spread. It's basically a diagnostic tool, like a little black box at the auto tech place, so you can figure out why your dashboard light is flashing. Bing, 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 bing. You got to figure out what it is, or else your car is going to fall apart. You've got to reveal it to heal it. All right, blind is good. Here we go, sir. Cards are already shuffled. I'm doing a big fat cut to really break it up. Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things going forward anyway. And we're going to look at external energy. As you know, I often default to the astrology, but let's have a look. So we've got the Queen of Wands here. So this is, to me, this is a beautiful card of inspiration. The Queen of Wands, I think of it, I don't want to make it like too much about the feminine energy, but more about the symbolism of inspiration. I feel the Queen of Wands is probably the most powerful card regarding inspiration and potential for hope. And in other words, when people are feeling really down, life is really shitty, crappy, and you just go everywhere and do everything, and it all looks like shit. And it starts to feed on itself, and then you end up in a Four of Cups situation where you just sit around feeling hopeless, and everywhere you look, it's just, damn, how did I screw up? Why did those people screw me over? And over and over. I did everything. I was loving, and I did everything right, but everything turned out to crap anyway. Okay, so Four of Cups, and then there's the little Ace of Cups in the background. It's still there, but you have to change your you have to force yourself to change attention and refocus on the good stuff. Okay, like the little Ace of Cups. In other words, it's right there, and everything is exactly as it should be. How is that so? Why is it so? Because it can't be any other way. So if it feels crap, yes, it is crap, and there's perhaps millions of reasons, but you still always have the choice to choose the loving option, even though it might seem very far out of reach and totally absurd. Energy flows where attention goes, and if we deliberately choose love, choose happiness, then we can bring joy, hope back into our lives. So when I look at the Queen of Wands here, I'm not sure if I want to relate this totally to a female energy, but when I see the Queen of Wands, it looks to me that we have to acknowledge this big, fat, green, sacred envelope. I call it a sacred envelope. You can see why. It's a good old-fashioned envelope shape. It's very, very powerful alignment. It's on points of absolute critical mass for our species. And it's an amazing opportunity to tune in to the highest frequencies of love, healing, the healing power of love, and the benevolent side of life. And for that to happen, we need that jolt of inspiration. And I'm not saying it's me, Gregory. What I'm suggesting is that it's like it's right out there. It's right in front of you. But like, I'm not going to pull the cards yet. I was using the analogy of the Four of Cups. But we have to remember that it's there. It's a very powerful card of inspiration. Imagine you're feeling absolutely weepy, miserable, totally in the dumps, like you've been screwed over by everybody and anything, and it's utterly hopeless. And then suddenly, like magic, this appears. So sometimes I call this the Lady Diana card. Remember Lady Diana from decades ago? How she brought so much hope and light and love to people all over the world. Even though her life was very tragic for herself, she was literally the embodiment of the Queen of Wands. She just radiated inspiration. She gave hope to millions, okay? And that is out there tonight, right now for you, long term. These are pretty long-term transits, okay? This isn't just, just the passing moon. This is all right here, right now. So it's there for you, Gregory. That good, super powerful energy is there. It's fully available to you and for you. Here's the situation. Because, yes, you need it. With the Nine of Wands, it's an indication that it's very simple to look around your world right now and put everything like in a box. I like to, it's sort of like a Virgo thing where you make everything very, very orderly. You make a list of this, checklist of that, and when you do a massive, wide-reaching summary of your life and all the issues that I mentioned before, whether property, family, deeds, contracts, clients, the city representatives, all of these issues have powerful energy. And it can get to the point where it's overwhelming. How do you handle it all? But you have to look. If you look really closely, this is all yours. It all belongs to you. But you're not completely, utterly overwhelmed. It's just a recognition like, wow, this is my life right now. Okay, so there's no point in punishing yourself and saying, well, I deserved all the hell I ever brought on myself. It's all my fault. And you just create a doom loop, okay? I see this as neutral, pure neutral energy, where it's just a looking around, recognition of your a broad spectrum look at your world right now, all the components of your life, and realizing, well, that's how it is. And if we take full ownership, full responsibility, you end up having to say to yourself, well, yeah, I could blame this person, that situation, that client, that ordeal on someone or something else. Yes, and you could easily legitimize that perspective, but ultimately you have to own it. It's all yours. For better or worse, it's all yours. But don't forget, you've got this. All right, let's have a look. What are the challenges here? Okay, what I'm sensing with the Knight of Swords is this feels like a really kind of a chronic problem where it's starting to become really tedious, annoying, frustrating, in fact, almost to the point of anger and almost rage, where it's just like the truth needs to be spoken. Facts need to be understood and accepted. Honesty must prevail. Someone has to do it. Why are all these people, situations, whoever they are, whatever it is, whichever component it is, why is there something that always seems to be so cloudy, nefarious, deceptive, false, and then you become aware of it, and then you have to destroy the falsehood, and in the process of destroying the falsehood to make things good for life, the world, and everybody and everything, it ends up pissing people off. A lot of people, what I've learned, live in a state of what's the word? It's cognitive dissonance. They refuse to acknowledge the reality. So with this card here, Gregory, all these components here I see as issues outside of your life. They're still your issues, but involves other people's situations. And in each situation, there's a degree of deception, betrayal, distrust, lies. But some of it's very, very subtle. Some of it's very obvious. But it all adds up to this frustration. Like, why on earth can't people just be true? Why can't someone just speak their own truth? I speak my truth. You speak your truth. Let's take care of business and get stuff done. But it seems that a lot of the world profits from lies, deception, betrayal, blackmail, evasion, corruption, scamming. It's awful. It's just awful. So how are we going to proceed? So we got the Queen of Swords. In other words, it feels to me, look at that, Queen of Wands, Queen of Swords. To me, what I'm sensing, Gregory, it's pretty straightforward. This looks like you could take all of this very, very personally. Like let's say you take all of this very personally, extreme frustration, anger, bitterness, resentment towards all the crappy things, crappy people, crappy situations that have coalesced to be what they are right now, and they need to be addressed. Like some things are worthy, some things are not. Some people are worthy, some people are not. Some situations worthy or not. And at this point, it's time to be utterly simple, blunt, and ruthless, and just cut it out. Whatever's not working, that's it. Done. It's nothing personal. Like if you want to feel like it's personal, you can. But what I'm sensing here from the Queen of Swords is that this Queen of Wands is saying, dear Gregory, you're above all this. Yes, these are problems, but you are above your problems. If you wanted to, you could tell yourself you're swimming in misery, swimming in problems, and it's all someone else's fault. But if you neutralize it and take absolute ownership and realize, okay, well, things are the way they are. And if certain things don't work, we're just going to cut it out. A simple divorce, execution. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. No, no, no. Okay. Really straightforward. It's kind of brutal, kind of ruthless, but it's also to me it feels very soothing, very, very calm. Sometimes it takes a lot of power and courage to say no in a situation, or say enough is enough in a situation, and just call it out for what it is, and just let the consequences roll out. Anyway, so there's your mini reading. A lot of people don't like to make decisions because they're scared of consequences. They just rather things just sort of float around and say, oh, stuff happened. But this looks really like precise and decisive. It's time for tough decisions, but in a very, very, not ruthless, but a very neutral, calm way. Just, nope, unacceptable. Nope, 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 nope. That's it. I hope that makes sense. All right. Okay, I'm going to have to shuffle up again, Fluffles. And then I'll go back to your notes if I think, well, I'll remember them, I'm sure. Took a moment to get a glass of water. All right, Fluffles, you're up. Here we go. I'm going to scroll back through the chat. I know you put up a note there. It was about Tommy. Here's my question, TL. I'm still dealing with Tommy. I want to get some insight who this man really is. Is he good and pure? Is he deceitful and dark? Who is this guy? Whoa, okay. Sure. Why not? Let's see what's going on. Tommy. What's going on? Who is this guy? Yeah. I got it. I already got it, Fluffles. Who is this guy? Well, remember, things got pretty heated because we were doing some pretty deep diving, I think last week or the week before, regarding this fellow. And a few things were revealed at that time. Let's see what comes up now. Cards are well shuffled. You saw me do that earlier. This is the same deck. I didn't do any switcheroos. Here we go. Nice even cut. Let's see what we've got. Okay, what kind of messages do we have here tonight for Fluffles regarding Tommy? What kind of man is this? Alright, here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. So we're going to get some revealing here. Let's have a look at external influences. I'm going to probably have to default to the planets again, but I want a lens. So I look at the lens here. Okay, with Ace of Pentacles. Okay, I'm seeing this as... Okay, we've got the full moon coming up, all right, Fluffles? So over the last couple weeks, well, let's say last week we're doing a reading. It was regarding Tommy. And a few things were revealed. And we're just going to move on. And what I'm sensing with the Ace of Pentacles is that by, let's see, the full moon's basically Wednesday, okay? Things should have a lot more clarity by then, and you'll know more about the person with whom you're dealing, because you need a very serious reality check. Look at, okay, Ace of Pentacles, you know, I often associate it with money, but also let's expand it, deal with three-dimensional physical reality here on Earth. In other words, Saturn, okay? Saturn is demanding accountability, justice, purity, realignment for the whole planet. Especially when it regards evil, deception, betrayal, lies, abuse of love, presenting something as very loving when in fact it's something completely different. Okay? So there's a little Saturn right there, okay? No, I should have put it. Hold on, I got another thing. Give me a second. I forgot to do this. Saturn is retrograde. Neptune's retrograde. Uranus is retrograde. And we're going through some pretty critical moments in the astrology. Okay, so Fluffles, here's what I'm sensing with the Ace of Pentacles. If you don't get a full, clear awareness of the true nature, the reality, the three-dimensional true nature of Tommy by the full moon, then we're going to have to, you know, wait for another lunar cycle and maybe just let some time go by. But what I'm sensing is that you're going to have revelations, new starts, new beginnings, which would have been like the seeds that were planted with your questions a couple of weeks ago. And now we're getting a full culmination about the reality. Because the last thing you want to have is a relationship based on falsehood. Now, I'm talking about the Neptune stuff here. Saturn is more or less conjunct Neptune. Saturn is very much trying to hold Neptune accountable for all the deceptions and the dark side of Neptune energy. Abuse, lies, betrayal, love masquerading something or masking something very less than loving. But it's very, very hard. Saturn is retrograde. Neptune's retrograde. Nevertheless, the work is being done during the retrograde periods. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong, and it is going wrong. So let's look at this as very fortunate. This is a card of sacred opportunity. By doing your homework on yourself, not doing any kind of projections, not living with any kind of false expectations. We need reality here. And Saturn is helping you get in touch with the facts of the situation. What are the facts? What is the reality of this person, the relationship? And once you know what that is, it's a tremendous sense of relief, because then you don't have to live with questions like, who is this really? As opposed to what is being presented to you. And if you sense doubt, there's something different going on, that makes the foundation of a relationship a little bit unstable. What really works in a relationship is when you have two people who have immense self-respect and then respect for each other, and they refuse to compromise their own sovereignty, and they live in truth, they live in integrity, they are loving, they are respectful, kind, patient, observant, affectionate when appropriate, and tough when appropriate. It's really, really good when you have someone like that, plus fun, and it's mutual. And then you conduct through the third party, which is the relationship itself. A lot of people do not operate that way. A lot of people operate like this. Me, you, me. I want this from you. Oh, you mean you want this from me? No, I want this from you. Wait a minute, I thought, and it's just action, reaction, as opposed to express energy, absorb, understand through the relationship, and formulate a response back through the relationship. Okay, so I think we're going to get a chance at some clarity here. And once you've got the clarity, once it's fully revealed, then you can make some much more healthy decisions. Oh, hello, element. Yeah, if you're very, very rich, just throw in enormous amounts of money. All right, let's have a look. What's the situation? Okay. To me, this is going to sound very strange, Fluffles, but it feels to me like this gentleman, Tommy, is aware that you have doubts about him and about the relationship and about what's really going on here. And he's trying to hold his ground and maintain his aura of integrity as he chooses to present himself to you. Okay? And that's different from how you perceive Tommy himself. He may present himself as this, but you may perceive as something else. And he's working to maintain a persona, a character, a type of nature that he believes would be very acceptable to you. But what I see here is that he's in a battle with himself, and that he's having to fight off elements of his own nature that are not actually very favorable to love and a relationship, no matter who, not just you, but to anyone. And that's a problem, because he does not want to be outed. And I believe all of this is happening subconsciously, and he doesn't even know it. Now, at the same time, you're working to maintain your integrity and how you like to present yourself to the world, given that, some people have misperceptions of you, despite how you might present yourself. I mean, that happens with everybody. Like, until you get to really know someone, all you can do is go on how they present themselves to you. And so you have your own integrity at stake here, which you are eager to maintain. And it's almost like you're having a fight with yourself, because you want to know what's actually going on who am I really dealing with? Because you wouldn't be asking these questions. You wouldn't be having these readings if there was a sense of what I was talking about earlier, the core, essential, most valuable ingredients in love and relationship, things like respect, patience, integrity, honesty, truth, kindness, affection, and being there, being honest, right there. In other words, there's no disparity between how you present yourself to be and how you are. Okay. So in some ways, both parties are struggling here, all right, Fluffles? It's almost like you're learning a little bit about yourself in the process. Okay, here we go. What's the challenge here, Tommy? Let's have a look. So, we got the Five of Wands. Sorry, excuse me, the Five of Cups. What was I saying? So, this is a card of grief and sorrow. This is your reading, Fluffles, but it's about Tommy. You wanted to know about Tommy. And this is jumbled up. What I'm sensing is that this is for you, okay? It's your reading. We need to get to Saturn type reality, okay? There's a bit of a struggle for you, and it's a bit of a struggle for Tommy. The challenge here is inside, because it looks to me that Tommy may be burying or hiding some sort of bitter grief which has nothing to do with you. Like in his past, maybe he lost someone. Maybe he had a spouse, a child, a pet, a partner, a career, a life, health, or something that is gone. It's just gone. And the grieving process is not complete. And he's carrying grief, and he's trying to, in his own life, pretend it doesn't exist. And in so doing, he's fighting with himself, trying to present the aura of a master, someone who is like an appealing, masculine male who has everything a lovely woman would want. But this is not resolved. And it's really his issue. It looks to me like it's this is the problem for him, but it affects you because you're not dealing with a complete person. You're dealing with a person who is grieving but is pretending it's not happening. It's being covered up because it's either too painful or it's shameful, something like that. Especially if the grief is to do with loss of a loved one because of his own behavior. It's kind of sad. It's kind of tragic. Like some people, like if you get too close to the subject or you discover the wound or the grief, this is the kind of person that could lash out. Like, who the hell do you think you are? You're full of. So, to me, this is it's kind of sad. It's kind of tragic, but it's also like a danger sign, like a red alert. This is be careful, because unprocessed, unresolved grief can express itself in very unpredictable ways. Okay, let's have a look. How do we go forward? Okay, Fluffles. It's obviously that things are still continuing here, and they're going to continue at least for a few days until you reach the full moon and draw your own conclusions. I think we've had a bit of a revelation here, but in the meantime, going forward, you're going to have to, it feels to me like you're going to have to pray on this situation, okay? So, I'm trying to keep this neutral. Okay, this looks really heavily charged here in such a way that it's very uncomfortable and it could affect everything. And maybe you don't want to be the sort of person who's like, oh, poor Tommy, if only I'd known, you poor thing. And then he has to go through all his grieving, and you end up being the nurse Fluffles. You have to figure out, do I really want a relationship with like that? Do I want to relate with someone who presents himself this way but is very, very broken inside? Like, I'm really tough, awesome male, but in fact I'm very broken. You have to make a decision. Sometimes it's not appropriate or healthy to be like a savior for others. There's all sorts of relationships out there, everything imaginable. But you have to understand what's going on and then make decisions. So with this Two of Swords here, there are more decisions to come. But those decisions are going to come from your own efforts in prayer. In other words, please, dear guardian angels, my dear invisible friends, my spirit guides, I need help. I'm not desperate. I just need clarity. I need messages. I need messages in my dreams. I need signs. I need clairaudience. Please speak to me directly through clairaudience to let me know how things are, what's going on, so I get more and more clarity in your, like, for your own language inside your own head, so that you can get closer and closer to reality, so that you're not dealing with huge ambiguity. Okay? Ambiguity is not healthy in a relationship. So this part of the reading, I feel, is like it's going to you, because he's got to figure this stuff out one way or another. He's the only one who can process his own grief. He might need help. He might need counseling. I don't know. Maybe he wants a shoulder to cry on. But you have to figure out, do I want to be that? Do you want to be the something? Do you want to be a blanket? Do you want to be a Kleenex? Do you want to be a doormat? Do you want to be a nurse? You have to make decisions. And that needs to come to you, for you, and you alone. And then you, later, once you've got the messages, then you can make decisions and get closer to reality, okay? Okay, hold on, what's that? Hey, necessary, thank you. What's going on, Fluffles? Okay. Oh, hello, all the elements. You're still here. British lass. First time I've done things this way. What's that? Oh, you put a PayPal in for the reading? Okay. Wow. All right. Okie dokie. So, okay. All right. So, Fluffles, I hope this made sense to you. It looks like I got another reading. So, we have to move on. Oh, God. Okay. All right. I see your notes there. Okay, almost drowned saving people. He's got stage 4 cancer, nearly died. Then his wife for 3 years left him. But Tommy, he's super controlling and a know-it-all. He's in counseling and he has serious mental issues. Yeah. Right. Okay. So I'm really glad you've been very clear. And a lot of people don't want to deal with these kind of stuff because it's very deep, kind of frightening, tragic, personal stuff, but that's kind of what we do here, because you might not get this from a friend or a family or a doctor or a therapist, but it sounds like Tommy is really struggling to keep his own stuff together right now, and that's why he's so controlling. That would be an expression of trying to take control of a life over which he actually has very little control. And to get into the grieving would be tremendously healing for Tommy, but you'd end up dealing with a different person. Right now you're dealing with a person, the way I look at it, you're dealing with a person who's not really capable of operating in a healthy relationship. He needs professional help. He probably knows that. He totally doesn't want to admit it because that would be an insult to his masculinity. And so you have to make your own decisions. What do you want reality to look like for you, Fluffles, going forward? Okay? Oh, he's a porn addict? Okay. That's a very big problem. I'm sorry, Fluffles. Let me clean this up. The guy is struggling. To me it sounds really sad. It sounds like this guy is really broken, really sad. He's trying to cover it up, and he can't control it. And it's tragic and it's sad. And I'm not saying you should or shouldn't have a relationship with this guy, but if he's dangerous and he's lashing out, I mean, I don't know about you, but it can be very scary. Alright, I'm shuffling up. Looks like we're going to do a reading for all the elements. Okie dokie. Wow, how exciting. Ha ha ha. Well. It's pretty freakish what happens on this show. I don't want to scare you necessarily, but I'm really, really glad you got a reading tonight. For your own sake, okay? All right, all the elements over there in jolly old England. God. I think about England a lot. I'm still shuffling, okay? I'm just going to go back over here. Yeah, I think about England a lot because I had a big chunk of my life there. And I miss it a lot. I miss the people. To me, it was like a living in what do they call it, a hothouse or a greenhouse or a conservatory where you grow plants. Very intense atmosphere, especially for music. Incredible. So, the things that I really cherish are going to the seaside, like Weston-super-Mare, or Southampton, or Falmouth, or somewhere down in Devon. I loved it. Newquay, Cornwall, I loved it. Any chance I could get, I'd go on my bicycle and go out through the forest or woods or Cheddar Gorge or up to the Lake District or something. Anywhere, any way to get out and about. And I've never shared this with anyone in a long time, but dear all the elements, I have urinated off of Land's End, right down to the tip of Cornwall, all the way to John O'Groats at the very, very top of Scotland. Tell me anybody in your world who's peed off the both ends of the British Isles. Nobody. Well, maybe somebody did, but as far as I know, I'm the first. I'm very proud of that. I miss the pubs. I miss fish and chips. Old-fashioned fish and chips at the seaside in Wales. I miss the ploughman's lunch, where you get a beautiful homemade loaf of, gnarly bread and a big chunk of old cheddar, maybe a pickled egg or a pickled onion, maybe a Scotch egg. I really, really, really miss all that stuff. I miss having a pint of British bitter. Ah, man, there's nothing else like it. A British roast beef, a British roast lamb. Oh my God. A British breakfast. Fried eggs, bacon, sausage, ham, toast, orange juice, a cup of tea, British tea. Milk and 2 sugar, please. Oh my God. It's so good. People don't know it. People just don't know. The thing is, it's changed a lot. I know it's become like very Euro and like bougie, shishi, pubs are more like, you don't have the gnarly pubs so much. Well, I'm sure you do, but a lot of them become boutique-y, like tourist spots. I don't know. I really miss all that. I really, really miss that. Also, one of the other things I miss about England is being able to go anywhere on public transport. It's incredible. You can go, from London to anywhere on trains and buses. I used to use trains and buses a lot. It's kind of tedious, but it's also kind of a fun adventure. Yeah. Yeah, man. Oh, in some ways those were my glory days, because doing pop music and rock music, I was very, very active in all of that stuff. Bistros, gastropubs. Okay, sure, that's great. I've been very lucky. I've had some spectacular meals at gastropubs. But there's nothing like a little old pub on the seaside. You just get your pint of bitter and a fish and chips. And the chips and the fish, they're cooked in boiling lard. None of this seed oil stuff. Lard, beef tallow, beef fat. I remember some of the fish and chip chops, you could see through the sort of side door where there's somebody in the back taking a potato dicer, putting one potato in at a time, going with the dicer, and then the potato gets loaded into a bin and dumped into a bathtub, an old bathtub full of water, and all the potatoes would sit there floating there, ready to be pulled out into the fishing, the chips net. Yeah. Oh, hello, Sharon, new arrival. Okay. Well, I'm probably on my last reading tonight because it's hard for me to do more than like 3 or 4. Anyway, I'm so glad you're here, all the elements. It's really, really makes me all warm and fuzzy that I'm talking with a Brit. By the way, all the elements, I mean, I don't know anything about you, but, I do all, let's say tonight goes well, you could spread the word, and I do very, they're not cheap, but I do very well priced deep dive astrology stuff mixed up with tarot and things like that. It can be really quite profound. All right, anyway, let's get on with it. Dear all the elements. Now, dear all the elements, did you put in any notes about the subject? Sometimes what I do is this. What kind of messages do we have tonight for all the elements? Or what kind of messages do we have for all the elements tonight regarding the subject of ... Typically one word, ... like Tommy, or career, health, romance, parents, children, depression, spiritual development, whatever it is. Okay? So if you've got you did put a question. I didn't see it. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep up with all the chat because the chat screen is only like this big, and it's a lot more than I can scroll through at any one time. If you could remind me while you're there. Let me, okay. Anything and all on the Daniel would be fantastic. Okay, let's just let that, okay, that's it. That's all I need to know. Don't say anything else. Okay. What kind of messages do we have tonight for all the elements regarding the subject of Daniel? Lovey-dovey hearts, I can see it in the screen. Oh, let's have a look. What kind of messages do we have here tonight? Bless this little deck, bless this card. By the way, all the elements, what I do for over the years, I used to do it a lot where I would try and encourage people to imagine we're sitting around a campfire. It's a beautiful evening. There's a sunset. We're very close to the ocean, just shallow light waves. There's mountains and stars twinkling in the background, a gentle breeze. We got a beautiful campfire. People have brought their own snacks, their own beverages, and we're all sharing. We're all in a circle. Yeah. And then you invite your invisible friends, and it becomes basically a tarot party. A tarot reading party. All my invisible friends are here. Really helps to invite them. You have to make a formal invitation. Dear invisible friends, I am all the elements. I know you're out there. I've never met you too closely, too personally, but I'd like you to be in attendance tonight for my mini reading here. Okay. I see it. I got it necessary. It's all about Daniel. We're doing a reading about Daniel. Well, the 5th of November, that's a full moon. Dun, 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 dun. Cue the chart. Ba-bum. There we are. At that point, the sun will be in Scorpio and the moon will be in Taurus, roughly here. Yeah, the moon will be roughly, see, the moon is here tonight, early Aries, and it's going to be roughly here on November the 5th, which is the full moon. So that means the moon is opposite the sun. The sun is in Scorpio, moon is in Taurus. It's a very intense Oh, bonfire night. Oh my God. Oh, I missed that. Of course, it's different these days, but my God, I've had some fantastic bonfire nights. I know it's all about Guy Fawkes and blowing up Parliament. I remember that. I'm not much of a British historian, but I do remember bonfire night. All right, here we go. Cards are well shuffled. Brace yourself, all the elements. What kind of messages we have here tonight for all the elements regarding Daniel? Cut. Big cut. Ooh, that was a big one. Woo. Okie dokie. I know I don't do jumpers, flyers, reversals, or any of that. I love everything the way it's perfect, okay? Okay, let's have a look. Your birthday's on the 8th. Okay. Well, by the 8th, the moon will probably be in Gemini. Let's have a look. Here's the situation. So it's all about Daniel, right? Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. Let's give myself some room here. And let's take a look at external influences. Kaboom. King of Swords. Okay. So, King of Swords is really, like, on its own, to me it represents mastery, complete command, and mastery of truth, knowledge, wisdom, facts, reality, justice, law, getting things done the way they should be done. And it didn't come easily. I don't know if this represents Daniel. I don't really feel that at this moment. It feels to me, okay, I'm just, you know, I've done thousands of readings, okay, all the elements, and I had training with some very good teachers and so on, but I give myself a bit of wiggle room. So with the King of Swords, it makes me feel as though to me it feels like you need to be strong as yourself, as an individual, because the overall nature of Daniel is, in some ways I would feel demanding, in such a way that now I'm sensing a lot of reflection here, okay? This is a very masculine card, but this is your reading. It's about Daniel, but it's still you and your reading. The external influences, like, makes me feel that you need to be very strong. You need to be very, very tough yourself, for yourself, in terms of maintaining your own integrity, your own truth, your own justice, your own strength, your own rule of law, and anything less than that is unacceptable. Now, if you're already that way, kind of that way by nature, you have a lot of natural courage, and you are, let's not say not offended by lies and deception, but you're very, very intolerant of fakery. And let's say that aura is pretty strong inside of you, everything I just described. What can happen is you get a situation of resonance where you can start to attract something very, very similar. And sometimes it can feel like, what the fuck? You know, what? Who the fuck do you think you are? For example, the only way I can do this is by acting, okay? Sorry, this is going to sound ridiculous. So, how am I going to put this? Because I'm sensing like a duality here. With the King of Swords energy, to me there's multiple messages. Number one, you really need to be on your game. You need to be absolute. in maintaining your truth, your authenticity, your right to speak your words, your own freedom of speech, and to be ultimately your own sovereign self, no matter what anybody says. Number two, if you're kind of that way already, it needs to be understood that that's going to exude out of you like an aura, okay? And that can be intimidating to some people. You might carry yourself as someone who's very soft, feminine, demure, but once someone gets to know you, they'll realize like, I don't want to fuck with her. I don't want to fuck with her. No, don't get on the wrong side. Okay. And let's just say, so that's being revealed here. And at the same time, regarding Daniel, I'm sensing something similar. There's an expression, like attracts like. Okay. Then somebody say, opposites attract. Okay. What I'm sensing is more like resonance. Like in other words, it takes one to know one. And you have to figure out, am I actually comfortable with that? Am I comfortable relating to someone who has a lot of ingredients that I already have? In other words, am I threatened by that? Or does that make me feel like, wow, this is really cool. Someone's on my wavelength. I can respect that person because they are ruthlessly committed to their own sovereignty. In other words, Daniel might be just like, don't fuck with me. And he doesn't even have to say it. It's just his actions speak louder than words. And it could be the same thing with you. And so there could be some resonance going on here. Okay? And I think that needs to be acknowledged. Okay? All right, let me go back. Sorry, I had to kind of act that out a little bit. I didn't know how else to get it out there. I just saw some notes. You go. His birthday is 4th of January, and yours is 8th of November. So you have a very strong sextile relationship. Scorpio and Capricorn Sun is a very good combo. Okay, just by definition, astrologically. You're both early degrees or middle degrees. Astrologically, it's a sextile. Let me see if I can just do a quick doodle here. Okay, there's Scorpio Sun. And if Daniel's January 4th, so he's over here. So on a chart, it would look like this. It would have something like this, a very strong sextile angle. And there's all sorts of ways that relationships pan out. I mean, you can do deep dive astrology. It's incredible what you discover. So just without doing any astrology right now, just take it as written that, take it as spoken that the Scorpio the Scorpio Capricorn tight sextile relationship is very opportunistic, very mutually supportive. It's different from a trine. Trine is almost like it's too comfortable, it's too easy, too natural, you just kind of blur into each other. But with a sextile, it's very obvious, like you could look at each other and sort of wink, wink, you know what? I'm really good for you. Wink, wink. Yeah, well, I was going to say same thing about you. You're really good for me, right? All right, mate? Yeah, wink, wink. And let's do this, all right? Yeah. And it's fun. Sextiles are fun. All right, let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Kerblam. Oh, my God. I don't know, all the elements. This looks really simple. There might be some ingredients here that meet all the core essential basics where you have resonance. Resonance is very good if it's healthy resonance. Everything that I just described, and if you're getting resonance, it's just like, and then you end up with a point of mutual respect. Respect is very, very important in a healthy relationship. And if Daniel respects you, literally respects you, and you're sensing that, you know what, I respect you too, then that's a real combination for joy. Mutual appreciation. Hold on, this is kind of unexpected. I don't often get readings where I get fairly optimistic vibes, because a lot of people come to readings asking for some enlightenment because there's so many problems. But with this, what I'm sensing when I see the Sun card, that's the situation itself. It's like a blessing, okay? It doesn't mean everything's going to be easy, but with a sextile, it's like the best examples that I can think of right now are the Beatles. Oh, no, wait a minute, hold on. Gemini. No, sorry, yeah, let me go with the Beatles. Particularly John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Astrologically, they're born with a natural sextile. Paul McCartney, Gemini Sun, Pluto in Leo. It's a very powerful sextile. It creates fantastic opportunity. It's fun. Sextile relationships can be fun because there's typically a very obvious awareness that, oh, this kind of works. We might as well go for it. You don't want to take advantage or screw the other party. You don't want to screw them over or take too much, or vice versa. But it needs to be acknowledged here with the Sun card. It looks like there's a certain degree of protection here, where the core ingredients, the core essential ingredients are good. Good for you and vice versa. It looks like you could be beneficial to Daniel and Daniel is beneficial. Okay? Hello, Ivona. All right. What's the challenges here? It's almost like it's too much, too good to be true. Like, oh, I don't want to, no, it can't possibly be. It does happen, okay? All the elements, it does happen. Sometimes you get a good one. It might be a good one to the point where, no, there's no chance. It doesn't happen in real life. That's just movies and fairy tales. Duh. And so you think like, Three of Cups, no, I should be celebrating. I should be deliriously happy. I've got a gem. You might have found a gem, okay? But also, it might be reciprocal. Daniel may be thinking like, well, I've got a bit of a gem here. On the other hand, some people don't want to risk their luck. They don't want to take it all for granted, and they would be reluctant. You know, it's one characteristic about British behavior is that sometimes they can be very subdued with their emotions, and it would come out more like in terms of poetry or actions or something like that. Whereas in America, Americans, they might be just having an orgy of celebration if they discovered that they have what you have. All right. So if there's a bit of an energy where it's let's say you've got this divine resonance and it's effectively joyful. It's good for you. It's good for Daniel. It's mutually beneficial. And there's this part of you which is going like, fuck, there's no way. No way. I guarantee deep down he's an asshole. Or he's thinking like, nah, she's just another like all the rest of them. They're all itches, oars. Oh, who cares? But, and so it like there would be like a deep shyness or a deep like, I don't know. I don't want to celebrate too early. Like, and so it's like you might be thwarting or forcing your heart to stay muted because you're scared that you might actually have something really good, and you don't want to screw it up by saying anything stupid or doing anything stupid. And so you kind of hold it back. Okay? Hello, Heather. How do we proceed here? Let's have a look. What's this all about, Daniel? Okay, so if you're having some sort of anxiety, Nine of Swords, and it's like it says here, like it's keeping you up at night, what I would suggest is get back to the truth, get back to basic facts. If you can handle this, okay, all the elements, if you can handle this, I recommend, and this is going to sound a little bit creepy, okay? It might be an idea, if you have any reservations about what's going on with you and Daniel, or Daniel and you, it might be an idea to bring certain things to the surface. In other words, let's acknowledge quietly, modestly, that we potentially have something very good here. And maybe we should, celebrate this. Enjoy the love. However, we all know that bad things can happen. And everyone's terrified of opening their heart and sharing because they don't want to be destroyed and broken by falsehood, deceptions, and lies. And obviously neither party is going to put up with that. So it might be an idea to clarify things in very simple terms, like make a list, the top 9 or the top 10 things that feel unresolved. Like maybe questions about yourself or questions about Daniel. Like, Daniel, I like you, you like me. It's obvious. Okay, that's great, fine. But let's face it. Every relationship has issues. Both of us have this. Neither party is interested in bullshit. So let's just get to the point here. What scares you the most about relationships? Not me, just relationships. What kind of shadowy, creepy, horrible things from the past are haunting you still today? We got to get that out in the open. Get rid of it. And so on. Make other things like, I have to admit, I was betrayed and deceived years ago, and I can't handle that anymore. I will not. Anyway, what I'm suggesting is, like, put your concerns on paper. Literally, take a piece of paper, just do this, and just make a list. Just a short sentence. A list of top 10 issues. These are my issues. And just get it out there. And that's how you proceed, because that's what both parties are demanding. In other words, it's sort of like removing obstacles. In other words, instead of saying, oh my God, we're so happy, everything's going to be great. But if there's a reluctance, it's because there's still homework to do, okay? That would mean homework on yourself, Daniel homework on himself, and homework on the relationship. You're already very, very blessed astrologically just because of the Sun, Scorpio, Capricorn sextile. So that's very, very valuable to begin. But if we're in the early days, it might be a good idea to start bringing up any issues and just put them on the table. This would be something where, this is how I would do it. It would be like a formal declaration. Hello, Daniel, this is all the elements. Okay, it's obvious we like each other and we're probably very good for each other. But we need to get to the core of things. I think we should go out and have a really nice dinner. You bring your top 10 list of issues. I'll bring my top 10 list of issues, and we'll just go through it like a business meeting. All right? And it'll be fun. All right? And I'm deadly serious. All right? So, here we go. So all the elements, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, if you're concerned about things like, oh my God, what could possibly go wrong? I know it's doomed. You got to reveal it to heal it. That's why I'm suggesting bring all this stuff, bring all this anxiety or any stresses, bring it out in the open and have fun. Believe me, a Scorpio, Capricorn, sun sign combo like that in a tight sextile, it's fun. It's mutually supportive, it's, what's that expression? The sum of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. In other words, it enhances you to being more than you could be on your own, and vice versa for Daniel. All right, there you go. I hope you got something out of that. We're going to move on. Hello, Heather. Wow, it's been a long time. Oh. Well, I think I've missed a few people, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up now. My throat is very fragile right now. I can't handle another reading. So I'm going to wrap out of here really quickly. I'm going to shuffle the cards, clean the deck. Oh, good. I see your notes there. You instigated a timeout. Excellent. And he needs to be able to feel confident that he can instigate a timeout as well, as and when necessary, in order to keep the good stuff working. Because with that Sun card, man, you're seriously blessed. Yeah. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Let me just formally clean up the deck. I need to clean this up so you know we are done officially. Thanks for really revealing those little nuggets right there at the end, all the elements. Waiting for your reunion. Healing time. Excellent. You know what? I think I'm going to do a little bit of showing off here. I am going to do a little bit of showing off. Some of you remember years ago I was doing TarotLumination music. I was going through enormous amounts of heavy duty, super high frequency, deep dive type alternative healing stuff, and a lot of creativity and music and things. And I made some very rough demos for songs that really didn't go anywhere, but they're still playable. So I think what I'm going to do is dig one out for you. This is going to sound crazy. Let me get the front. First of all, give me a second. I need to find the song. How am I going to find this song? I'm going to do this for you, all the elements. Okay? Okay, this song is called I Am Healing. The words and the lyrics are extremely simple. I wrote this song. Hold on, give me a second. I need to get back over here. I wrote this song for myself, to encourage myself to heal. And I was doing this combination of singing and dancing and doing these like healing processes, movements. Hi, Bubba. Do you want to say hi to everybody? You do? Okay. Everybody, come on, Bubba. Don't worry, I'm going to take care of you in just a minute. Bubba's here. Here's little Bubba. He's all dopey and quiet. He's very warm and dopey. He just came up from a nap. All right, there you go. I've got to take care of him. All right, here we go. I'll get you some stuff in just a second, Bubba. Yeah. So I'm going to play this little song and wrap out the show. The lyrics are very simple. It's just, I am healing, I am healed. And what I would do is I would jump around and dance It's very good for you. I mean, this is going to sound very amateur production, but I think you'll get the gist of it, okay? And it's fun! A fun way to heal. Hold on. Where is the song? I forgot. Come on. Here we go. Here it is. It should be coming up soon. Oh my God, everything is so slow here. Oh, come on, little computer, you can do it. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Man.